Welcome to the Fantasy 40 Podcast with your host, John Dabari.
I mean, I can beat the shit out of Hollywood Brown if you'd like.
Matt Walker.
Put the DK Metcalf at running back.
And Andrew Berg.
I love Hakeem Butler, actually. He's starting to grow on me.
Remember to like, rate, subscribe on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. Follow the guys on Twitter at the Fantasy 40. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Fantasy 40 Podcast. We are back. Myself, Andrew Burke, John Dabari, and Matt Walker. Week 2 is pretty much in the books besides tonight's showdown with those Browns and Jets. That's going to be a high-scoring affair going back and forth. You know what the crazy stuff is? It actually might turn out that way somehow. But
the Jets are only plus 6.5. If the Browns can't win by more than a touchdown in this game, John is absolutely right. The Browns just Browns their way out of the game. They should win by 20 points in this game.
John, would you take that line?
20?
No,
With a 6.5.
6.
It's in New York, though, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Give a fuck. Bus ride.
I mean, my heart and Baker Mayfield lead me to believe I would take the Browns, but my fucking brain tells me that the Browns are going to be the Browns. So,
Oh, man.
Trevor
Trevor
Simeon leads the Jets to a backdoor cover.
All right. Not a win. You heard that. Backdoor cover.
That's
Jump touchdown to fucking Jameson Crowder on his 37th target.
They're going to miss they're either they're going to miss 2 points at the end or a point after some garbage Adam Gase's cursed bullshit to wrap it up.
All right. But real quick, speaking of Trevor Seaman, what do you think about Antonio Brown? You think he's gonna face any suspension? Because it is a civil case; it's not a lawsuit or like a criminal charge. Walk? You think he could miss some time with all this stuff that dumps out on the daily?
Oh, Jesus Christ! You just kept going. Don't say you're the best in the business for nothing. If anyone didn't catch that, rewind it and listen to the whole thing again. There's about 3 double entendres in there. It's just crazy to me that it's the Patriots. Again, they just find their way into these crazy situations. He just got paid a ton of money. You could tell they wanted to use him week 1. Civil case, probably not. He'll end up settling just to make it go away. But some of the things that have come out recently are bananas. I mean, this dude is out of his fucking mind if half of it's true. People should stay away. No one can go into Antonio Brown's house from now on.
He went
should be like a sign at the door, like enter at your own risk. Like you should have like disclaimers that people have to sign. If you enter my house, you cannot press charges. Yeah,
I'll only be sitting in bar stools if I go to his house, never on the couch. But John,
back against the wall, people.
Right? But John, let's go to his former team, man. There's some big news this weekend in Pittsburgh. Big Ben went down, and then James Conner. They look like they're imploding pretty quick.
As much as I want to jump on there, we left off our favorite story before we started recording, which was his private chef for the Pro Bowl had left a salmon head in the freezer to make soup with, and Brown thought it was some sort of mafia-style threat on his life, is the quote from the news story. So he found a fish head in his freezer, freaked out, and fired the chef, and has never paid him. The guy's suing him for like $115,000 for the week of cooking and everything.
Jeez, that's an expensive week, but I'm pretty sure
it's the best story ever.
It's like a horse head that's supposed to be in like your bed, right? Not a salmon.
Antonio Corleone.
Yeah, it's the fish wrapped in the paper with your necktie.
Yeah, it probably had a price tag on it too. And he's like, "What the fuck is this?"
It's from Whole Foods. Yeah.
Back to the Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers got picked apart this week. Big Ben clutching his arm. I thought it was the usual Roethlisberger show where he pretends he's hurt, comes back in the fourth, and leads him to a comeback courageously, like always. But apparently not, out for the year. Season-ending surgery, and James Conner MRI on his knee today. Have yet to hear what's coming of that. But you figure if he's going for MRI, he's going to be out at least a week or two while whatever it is heals, if it's nothing major even.
Yep.
So you read not serious, and he's doing his radio spot today, so probably not even some sort of procedure. And we're talking about Connor. So for us Jalen Samuels aficionados, not yet. Hold. It'll happen.
It was.
No, I don't think that was big. But yeah, Big Ben, I guess it's the Tommy John, would assume. I mean, you're hearing a lot of people
I
talk
think
about
it's the other side of his. I think it's the other. It's on the outside of his elbow.
Oh, really?
On the inside. That's what I saw at first. I haven't seen anything official. I'm just guessing and giving listeners terrible information.
Hey,
but
we're not doctors. We just
who needs facts.
But moving forward, last year, if we go back when Connor got banged up towards the end, he didn't look the same. Even when playing, I watched quite a bit of the game. Jalen Samuels looks the part, man. I just expect more work, even if Connor's healthy. I mean, I think Samuel's taking over. What do you think, Paul?
100%. 3 spot starts for Samuels, 14 carries for 74.3 yards with another 4 catches for 35 yards. I mean, that is nice 18 for about 110 per game. That's what you need, and that's exactly what Rudolph's going to need for checkdowns and the like. I can't see how Samuel's role does not increase even without the injury because, Big Ben out, this whole offense has to change, and I think it's going to go a lot of short-hitting routes for Rudolph, at least in the short term. So,
yeah, you got to scoop him up. I mean, he's almost like one of those guys that kind of go under the radar still in some of these redraft leagues. People are being stubborn, thinking, James Conner is the workhorse, but it's time if he's there. You spend all your dollars, I would.
I mean, going back to the snap count with everybody saying, no, it's not going to be a timeshare, Connor, 54%. Jalen Samuels, 39%. And even Benny Snell got out there for 4%. So, if you squeeze Snell's in with Samuel, it's 43 to 54. It is a timeshare.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but the issue with that is I don't think the snap share was that, bad in week 1, but it's still just the touches. I mean, Samuel's on the field, but they're just not giving him the ball. Connor was still getting the correct touches regarding. It was almost an even split if I remember week 1.
Week 1 was 46 to 33.
Yeah, I mean that's just. He's a decoy. I mean, Samuels, for lack of better words, when Connor's the one still touching the ball more, which hasn't been that effective through 2 weeks. He got a goal line plunge because of Jalen Samuels. I mean, that's literally his best his best productive touch so far this year was because of Jalen Samuels.
Yeah.
Those pesky, vultures. Those are the worst in fantasy. Speaking of worst in fantasy, man, Cam Newton probably has the worst run per carry average right now. I think it's like negative something on his 4 rushes this year. That was the first game on Thursday. There was a little tiny rain delay. McCaffrey did not have a McCaffrey-like game, but the only positive I could take from this, John, was DJ Moore. He finally got on the field. Didn't get a touchdown, but he was peppered with targets. Looked good out there. And then obviously Chris Godwin on the other side of the ball. Anything else you saw there?
No, that was one of the shittiest games I've seen in a long time. That thing was awful. We've already spent far too much time looking into it.
All right, I like that you glossed over the Godwin aspect on the tail end. He's amazing. He's a wide receiver 1 in Tampa Bay. Everyone could just fucking admit it.
How about O.J. Howard with 0 targets?
Well, Aaron said he needs to play better.
No, listen, the Barry storyline was how about Ronald Jones with 4 carries for 9 yards? Yep. Right back where you belong, Ronald.
Yeah, it's no shocker here. We're an anti-Ronald Jones podcast.
Cam Newton threw it 51 times. That's insanity. 13 targets to Samuels and 14 targets to Moore. Greg Olsen had a big game. They don't want to throw it 51 times. That should not replicate itself.
Do you know what that game reminded me of? It reminded me of last Thursday's game where the Bears were never out of it, but they were throwing it like they were down 30. And I felt like Carolina had the same wonky, fucked up game plan where they threw it way more than they had to. They weren't out of that game at all. And it wasn't even effective. So the Bears and Carolina both were ineffectively throwing and they didn't have to.
Well, you want to just jump to the Eagles game right now? Because for fuck's sake, they threw it on 2/3 of every play with no wide receivers to speak of in a game that they were never down more than 11 points. I mean, everyone just wants to throw in the NFL these days. It's been proven more effective. There's countless studies on why you should throw it over running it. Like, give running backs a chance. Let's have more games like Green Bay, Minnesota, where the running backs can bind for 50 touches in the game. That's the NFL I want. Can running backs matter again?
Seahawks seem to Love doing
Burke,
that.
stop me, Burke.
I can't. It's
Brought up like 4
entertaining
games.
when you get on your little rants. I mean,
I'm pissed off.
oh, I would be too if I had
Cam
to.
not running equals Cam not starting. Let's get off the Thursday night game. Let's talk about Lamar Jackson.
Let's go there. I mean,
All right.
Lamar Jackson doing play action, fake the bubble screen because Hollywood Brown's getting a lot of attention now. It's only week 2 and defenses are all on his nuts. And then you leave Mark Andrews just streaking down the sideline wide open.
Oh, he's amazing.
That was a good play. I mean, Baltimore in general, offensively, looks really well. I don't have Ingram's stat line. Did he do anything this week?
He didn't, but he got touches. I mean, he's getting most of the running down work. He had 13 of the running back carries. There was only 4 other carries in the game, but he only had 47 yards. He did have 2 catches for 30 yards. So he had 15 touches for 77 scoreless yards. But when Lamar Jackson's running for 120 yards, running for 120 yards in a game, it's not going to leave a lot on the plate for those running backs. Lamar Jackson's first quarterback ever, 250 passing and 100 rushing in the same game? Ever?
Really?
Ever.
Vic never did that, huh?
No. I heard it on ESPN, so don't fact check me. Fact check ESPN. But on Lamar Jackson, on passing alone, week 1, he was the QB1. Week 2, so far, he'd be the QB7. Just on throwing the ball.
Wow.
Not that this is the way the show's supposed to go today, but fast forwarding to next week, Baltimore at Kansas City. Kansas City's a 6.5-point favorite. Do either of you fellas know what the over-under is currently?
I'm going to do anything to watch that game. 64 points.
False.
Higher.
54.
What'd you start?
54.
It's 55. 61 is the highest over-under in the history of sports betting. I don't remember what the game is off the top of my head, but I looked it up earlier today. So 61 is the record. I can't believe this wasn't closer to 60. I have not bet this year. I had little plans on betting. I'm going to scrounge under my fucking seat cushions for change because 55 is going to get blown out by the first half. This has got 30-something to 30-something written all over it.
Yeah, 2 things. 1, I went high intentionally. And 2, I agree with you. There's no way this game rings in under 60 points. There's not a universe that it happens.
So
the Chiefs won't allow it. The Chiefs won't allow it to happen.
I mean,
the Chiefs' defense is terrible.
Yeah, but I'm saying even their offense is going to force Baltimore's hand. Baltimore kind of like throttled it down a little bit because Arizona charged late in that game, so they didn't try and put it on them. What they did to the Dolphins a week ago is just because the Dolphins aren't an NFL football team right now. They couldn't help themselves from scoring from 80 yards out against the Dolphins. That's just not going to happen every week. But they're moving the ball. Baltimore was explosive, and Kansas City's defense isn't going to be able to contain Lamar Jackson.
Do we see more than 1,000 yards of offense in that game?
I sure hope so, because I'm pretty sure that Mahomes threw for 400 yards in the second quarter against Oakland this week. Did they play the second half? Just 0 points. How's that physically possible? The game wasn't over. 28-10. What happened with Kansas City? Did Mahomes just say, "I don't want to throw for 600 in an NFL game"?
Well, that's like 2 weeks in a row.
Imagine having the over in that one, and at the half, you're like, "Oh,
yeah, lost." Yeah. Then they go in their shells and turn it into high school, pee-wee football.
Yeah, I mean, let's kind of skip over to your.
What else do you want to talk about?
Your Chargers, and the Lions. That was kind of a surprising outcome. I would say for the Chargers. I mean, offensively, there was, they got Eckler at 66 yards rushing. Jackson did quite well with his 7 for 59, but obviously Eckler did a lot more in the passing game as expected. But Galladay got in the end zone, finally did the 100-yard game and a touchdown. That's good to see.
Yeah, I mean, you touch on everything. Eckler, 23 touches, 133, and 1 had a huge fumble. Massively huge fumble in the game. Maybe Jackson gets a little bit more work, but Eckler's been amazing. He's an RB1. He will continue to be one. Chargers laid a predictable road egg in a 1 p.m. East start. That's what they do. We should have all seen it coming. I was most disappointed by the fact that TJ Hawkinson had 1 catch for 7 yards in the game. And that is just what Detroit is going to do to me my entire existence as the tight end whisperer.
And don't forget that Eckler fumble came on the back of 2 called back fucking touchdowns back to back because the officiating is absolutely dog shit in this league.
Oh, it's wretched.
It's getting worse by the second.
It is. It's scared officiating. It's like we're just going to call every single thing humanly possible so we don't miss a single thing.
Except they don't call half the shit they should call.
Right.
You're right. They're calling the stuff they shouldn't call at the expense of things they could call. It's fascinating to watch.
I do not know what kind of workshops they are in. That's for sure. I mean,
no. I don't think Riveron's allowed out of the NFL offices in New York. He'd probably get stoned to death on the streets if he ever left that office. He just holed up in there until his contract runs out.
Well, we can kind of skip over the Patriots-Dolphins game. That was
well, let's talk about Sony Michel should have had 2 touchdowns. I said he was going to have a breakout game, and he, of course, fumbles and pisses me off at the end of the game. But he should have had 2 touchdowns in that game. And 85 and 2 touchdowns is exactly what I was saying he was going to do.
How about on the other side there? How about our man Kalen Ballage ducking underpasses and then tipping balls directly to Patriot linebackers? Holy shit! Did he have a horrific game?
Well, it's because he's not a good football player.
No, you're right.
We already went through this exercise, but it was a perfect tip to J.B. Collins. I mean, he could have flawlessly one hand grabbed it on the fly any better. My only takeaway from that Patriots game is that 7 New England pass catchers caught between 2 and 4 passes. Yep. Antonio Brown dilutes the pool so much that all their value is fallen.
Yep,
and
Josh
Gordon.
It's
going to persist.
Yeah, when I'm looking at Josh Gordon, I'm just like, son of a bitch. Value was there, and now it's gone.
Yep, should have got out after week 1.
Yep, should have, and I didn't. Maybe he has like 1-2 touchdown game, and I'll see if that window opens, as should anyone else who owns him, because I just don't see anything moving forward. But to go to Ballage real quick walk, and I mean, him and Moncrief are going to be on the free agent list here soon in the NFL. They're both getting cut. Moncrief couldn't catch a ball if it's a fucking one of those blow-up beach balls at a concert. That son of a bitch, dude.
Listen, John... You just give him the floor on Moncrief, and his agent needs a plaque just put up in every GM's office of like, don't answer this man's calls.
Agent able to live Antonio Brown's life.
There you go. One of those 2 things should be true. But the reality is Kalen Ballage is probably going to be the starting running back in Miami in a week or 2 when they trade Kenyon Drake.
Yep.
So him or Mark Walton.
Yeah, good old Mark Walton.
Walton snap shares went from 8 in week 1 to 16 this week. Drake saw the same. Ballage went down from 40 to 34%. Doesn't Walton seem like one of those? You know what I mean? We kind of liked him in Cincinnati. Then he's getting arrested, and there's nowhere for him to play in Cincy. They cut him. He goes back to Miami, where he played in college. He was good in college.
He was.
He's if you're in deep leagues, he's worth stashing.
Oh yeah,
I don't disagree.
I think
love Mark Walton.
Anyone on the Miami roster is going to get a shot this year. I think
4 touches for 27 yards for Walton in the game. He was effective when he touched the ball.
That's nice. I like that. Let's go to the 49ers Bengals. Another blowout, but John, I think this was your guy last week. Was it Mostert? You said he's going to get a little more work with Breida. Breida did finish the game. It might have been walk, but the catches and the yardage and the touchdowns, what I like to see. And then he had he led them in rushing with, less carries.
So, yeah, Mostert, I think, was running back 2 on the week for fantasy, 2 or 3.
So far, yep.
Jeff Wilson ended up running back 12, and Breida had 131 all-purpose yards. I think he might be running back 13. They're just doing what Shanahan does, and that's get the running backs involved, passing game, running, whatever. They're getting a ton of volume. A big product of that is Cincinnati's dog shit run defense, but they're all in play. The shitty thing to me was that Breida just isn't going to get the volume now. They're going to spread it around, and Breida seems like more between the 20s guy, so that's really going to ding him. If you're looking to sell one of them, I'm selling off 131 yards.
Yeah, no argument. I wrote Mostert in PPR, 21.1 points on 16 touches. Wilson, 15.4 points on 10 touches. Breida, 13.2 points on 13 touches. That was their backfield. Wow. PPR scoring and touch count.
Outstanding.
Now, Mostert was a guy I said to go and get when Tevin Coleman went out. I did go and get him. Spent $50 in a $200 Fab Dynasty, and I am hoping and praying someone wants to trade for him in a week or two for me, because I don't believe it's sustainable. But it is Shanahan's offense. Running backs are productive in Shanahan's offense. In a super deep league, I would go get Jeff Wilson, because who knows how long Coleman, if it's a high ankle, he could be out, 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, this could persist. In positive game scripts, these guys are going to touch the ball 10 times each.
Right. Talking about trading and flipping these guys, the Niners lost Joe Staley with a broken leg for 6 to 8 weeks, which is bad for that whole offense.
Huge. Oh, and on a side note, George Kittle is tied for tight end 13 through 2 weeks in PPR scoring.
Yeah, you get those touchdowns back last week. He's right in there.
No, I don't disagree. But listen, you probably say the same thing for Cameron Brate. He lost 2 touchdowns last week on penalties too. So
yep. But
they were on back-to-back plays, so he really only would have got one of them.
I'm not panicking. So
let's don't have to panic. It's just reality. He's not a tight end 1 through 2 weeks.
We talked about Ben. We skipped over Drew Brees looking to be out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yep.
With our what's the word I'm looking for here? Our gifted friend Teddy Bridgewater.
There it is.
Coming in to take over. For the meantime, he looked pretty awful like he did last year. Big downgrade for everybody. Kamara down. Michael Thomas down. If you like Jared Cook like a sick person on this podcast, down. This whole team takes a real dive here.
Where I'm already going down walk is Latavius Murray is not looking that great.
He's also not getting any work, and he's not going to get any with Teddy Bridgewater under center. I thought his production would be game script dependent, and I just believed that the Saints were going to be ahead in a lot of games, and that's when Latavius Murray would do his damage. But listen, Jared Cook, I'm taking a pass on that one. You're not gonna hit me with the Jared Cook stick this early when I was akin to Drew Brees being the one feeding him the rock. I'm not buying anything Teddy Bridgewater related. I agree. You're gonna realize what precision passing is, and I think this offense was buoyed by how fucking good Drew Brees is. And that he is one of the most gifted passers ever to play this game. And not that Michael Thomas isn't uber talented, but he caught 75% of passes or whatever his rate was last year, because Brees puts it exactly where it needs to be every single time. It's an epic fall from grace for some prolific offensive players while he's out. Yeah, Kamara, it's not going to get all that open dump down, all those checks, all those things. I mean, if he has a big game, God bless you, because he's an RB2 for me. While Brees is out. I mean, I think that's what Brees' loss means to his offense, and Michael Thomas will have to volume his way into any type of significant production.
We were talking about the drafting with Giants league before we started recording, and guys like Kamara, who are even bigger in that with the goofy scoring, with getting bonus points for yards after the catch and everything. Kamara's going to catch the ball and get tackled in 2 yards because he's got to turn around to catch it.
Yeah, it's tough days are ahead. Guys. Yeah, that's rough. Seeing that. Brees doesn't have a lot of time left either. And he's losing half a season. And they're in win now mode. The Saints were playing for a Super Bowl this year. Now 6 games without him. I looked at their schedule and I put it on Twitter. I said, absolute best case scenario, they go 3-3, and I do not believe that at all. I think they're likely to go 1-5 in the 6 weeks he misses with a week 9 bye. He comes back in week 10, and they're a 2-6 team.
Yeah, his season might be lost altogether.
They almost have to win out.
You were just saying, Brees doesn't have much time left, blah, blah, blah. He's going to miss all these games. Going back to where we started, does Roethlisberger get his starting job back next year?
His contract says he does. He's got a shit ton of money coming, but, and
I think he might be.
Listen, he was done 2 years ago when he phantom talked about retirement so he could bilk more money out of the Steelers, and they gave it to him. He's been regressing. I mean, it's no mystery. He didn't look great to me last year. He just threw it 7,000 times. No wonder his fucking arm hurts. How many times he threw it last year? It's like 600 times. This was happening. How about the fact that now the Steelers don't have a backup quarterback because they traded Josh Dobbs to the Jaguars a week ago?
Now we got Rudolph, and that's it. So.
Hey, who are they bringing in? Yeah, someone awesome, probably.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. But yeah, dark days for those Saints. It's unfortunate.
You want us to talk about some bright days, though? Let's go to those Buffalo Bills, man. They're undefeated under Josh Allen. I I don't know what to say. I know it hasn't been, some crazy, elite NFL power ranked teams, but the Jets and then the Giants, that is. But it's pretty amazing to see them 2-0. That's not how we pegged them, I think, in the AFC East show.
No, I mean, I think we all said Buffalo was the second best team, right?
I think I said the Jets. You two did.
Yes.
Okay.
I did not definitely get the Jets or Miami.
Yeah, I mean, it's just listen. First off, they just played the Giants. Let's take a step back. So as long as Eli's the starting quarterback there, they're rivaling Miami for just in a net franchise. If it wasn't for Saquon, they would be unwatchable. But Josh Allen didn't look good in this game. I don't know if you guys watched the game. He missed tons and tons and tons and tons of passes. It was like old Josh Allen all over again. You got a rushing touchdown. They were successful running the ball with 3 rushing touchdowns by 3 different people, and they played the Giants. It was about as good as you could get for those Buffalo Bills. Luckily, John mentioned earlier, they're home against Cincinnati next week, so it's going to fucking happen again. He's just going to end up just rushing for a touchdown, throwing 1 or 2. It's going to be an easy day for Josh Allen as he ends up probably posting another QB1 stat line.
Yeah. Singletary went down, didn't he, John?
He did with a hamstring, untouched. Looked pretty bad. There's been no update on that so far, but going to play Cincinnati coming to play them at home, assuming Singletary, he's got to miss at least a week, you'd assume. And if they do play him, he's going to be very lightly used. Frank Gore should run all over them. And if they get TJ Yeldon involved, him too. If you're looking for a deep play in DFS next week, dumpster diving for your waivers this week to fill a spot in running back, Frank Gore and TJ Yeldon should run all over the Bengals.
I wouldn't need you to answer this for me, John, because you've been diving deep into snap shares for some ungodly reason to start this NFL season. Was TJ Yeldon ever on the field? He didn't log it. He didn't touch the ball one time.
He did not at all this week for sure. Give me half a second and I could tell you for week 1. But this week, no.
Yeah, irrelevant. Good. Nice.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
But it looks like John Brown's their wide receiver 1.
And Cole Beasley.
I'm wrong. Yeldon had 7% of snaps he was on the field.
To this week?
Yeah.
What, special teams?
It just says snap share.
Man, everyone just hates TJ Yeldon, even the teams that sign him.
And
Everyone
3%
hates him.
in week 1. So he doubled.
Nah, yeah, he's on his way.
More than doubled.
Good. He's on the come. Good. All right. Can we get off this game? I did not want to talk about Buffalo.
You didn't?
No, except for the fact that Saquon Barkley, as I said when they drafted him a week ago, is being wasted in New York. Wasted. And listen, I couldn't be happier as an Eagles fan. The Giants are a fucking train wreck. But he is just by far the best running back in football and has no chance of putting up these epic seasons that if he were just about any other, if he were in Buffalo, if he stayed in state and was the Buffalo Bills running back, he would be RB1 this year.
He's the Barry Sanders for the kids nowadays. I had to sit through that shit for years watching poor Barry light up the screen for a fucking 4-win team every year.
It's so painful. He gets shot out of a cannon in the first quarter, both games, weeks 1 and 2. Just looks like the best player in the world. And then you hear nothing more. It's crickets the rest of the game because the offense can't fucking move until they're too far behind it. They have to throw it every down. And even though he's a good pass catcher, he's not the one that's like getting to Christian McCaffrey 10 targets. He gets scripted out every single fucking week. Sad.
We're going from guys that were in Buffalo. LaShawn McCoy getting an MRI in his ankle. Damian Williams hurt his knee. My man Darwin Thompson has a chance to make some noise in that. We mentioned Baltimore, Kansas City, 55 points that we think is way too low. No reason he won't get the points if he gets the volume.
Listen, if you step on the field with Patrick Mahomes, you're gifted fantasy points. That's all you need to do. Yeah. Just get on the field and you will score fantasy points.
I'm expecting a Charkandrick West reappearance somewhere in the near future.
It's going to be stupid Darrell Williams. It's going to be the other D. Williams that has like a 3-touchdown game. But, yeah, I agree. And, listen, you want to talk about Kansas City? Of course, DeMarcus Robinson had 6 catches for 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. Of course that happened. Of course, Mecole Hardman was a penalty away from posting a 5 for 133 and 2 stat line when he had that 72-yarder call back. I mean, of course this all happened, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not allowed to have nice things.
Well, let's get to something nicer. We kind of touched on Kansas City earlier. Let's just talk about Aaron Jones and his big game. They still need to get the freaking Jamal Williams off the damn field. Got vultured by another touchdown. Since when can he catch a swing pass again?
That was the crazy part. It was a pass.
I know.
So, he's not bad pass catching, and that's fine because Aaron Jones is growing in that role. That's something that I was okay ceding to Jamal Williams because that's just not the bulk of the work. Aaron Jones touched the ball 27 times in his game, 150 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he's just so impressive. They stuck with him against a good defense, you know, and they won the game because they committed to the run when they did not commit to the run, albeit against a Bears team to open this, to open the season. I think this is their game plan. Aaron Jones, positive game script. He's going to be a 20-plus touch guy week in and week out. Like, we were there before. We're here now. This is Aaron Jones' season. And if it weren't for that win, we'd be talking Dalvin Cook in his monster game because he is out of this world.
Yeah, right.
The whole offense runs through him.
And that's about all they have right now. I'm not saying Diggs and Thielen aren't talented, but Kirk Cousins looks like complete hot garbage right now. Doesn't look comfortable. Looks like it's his first year in the league. And, I mean, if you're a gambling man, you think Cousins could pull his head out of his ass dynasty-wise, I think this is a great time to kind of buy semi. It's not going to be low, but it's going to be cheaper than normal for Diggs and Thielen. But I know we're doing redraft stuff right now, but, I mean, Cousins looks horrible.
He did, and he's filthy rich and doesn't give a shit. But let's talk about how through 2 weeks, Kyle Rudolph has 3 catches for 9 yards. Through 2 weeks.
I mean, that whole team looks like shit, though.
He's going like next level shit. Like he should lose his tight end designation and just tight end eligible is what he should be described as.
I think the third tight end Baltimore is getting more. What's his name? Broyle or something?
Listen, David Quessenberry has more fantasy points this year than Kyle Rudolph.
Oh man!
Do you know what Kirk Cousins' dead cap is if they were to cut him right now?
$50 million.
60.
Yep.
Jesus.
It's unbelievable.
Start Dalvin Cook. I mean, that's all we got out of that.
Yeah, keep it rolling. All right, let's keep this train rolling. We had an epic throwdown, the Colts 19, the Tennessee Titans 17, where the two teams combined for 300 passing yards. Exactly 300 passing yards in the game. It's just another instance of trying to take football back into the Stone Age, but Derrick Henry was decent. 17 for 93 and 1. Only positive in the game was that Paris Campbell scored a touchdown, and he's an amazing human being, and I want to see more of it.
So did Ebron. Needed that one. So
yeah, listen, get back to throwing it to the tight end, Jacoby.
Speaking of our Pet Cemetery episode, Jordan Wilkins led the Colts in rushing.
Yeah, he got shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, because Mac wasn't that effective that game. Tennessee's got some decent linebackers, nice up front. But
listen, he had a 55-yard run.
I mean, he was grinding a little bit. I definitely didn't tune in too much to this game. I did see Corey Davis in the box score. He did log some catches. So
5 targets, tied for second on the team.
The high yardage producer was Delaney Walker, 39 yards receiving. That's 39. True. Jordan Wilkins outrushed their highest receiver.
It's ridiculous.
On one run. Single carry.
This is what the kids like to call a low-volume offense.
Yeah, so that's all it needs to be said about that. Tennessee wants to win ugly.
Walker, you want to talk about Chris Carson, Rashad Penny?
Sure. Round 2, Rashad Penny. Yep. Yeah, we're even. We're even on the cards through 2 rounds. Chris Carson, any other team, he would not have seen the field after those 2 brutal fumbles. Now 3 on the year. They credited the second one to why am I drawing a blank? Russell Wilson. But Carson tried to lose this game for the Seahawks, and yet he was still the one carrying the ball. I think it was on a 4th down where they had to get the first to salt away the game, and they had Carson in there. I get it. He's a grinder. He's, the hard luck. He's a trier. Penny's just a better player. I mean, he just is. I just want to see one game where Penny gets the Carson touches and Carson gets the Penny touches. Just one game and see what the fuck happens.
I don't know.
It's not going to happen.
Either.
It will never come true.
Aren't they just both volume produced in that offense?
Listen, that's volume.
But
I'm sure. I mean, give any running back volume. You know what I mean? It's just
I like Carson runs hard and then he just fumbles the ball at the end. But Penny doesn't look good to me either.
Yeah, you never liked him, so you're not allowed to change your opinion on Rashad Penny. He looked good on his touchdown run, albeit untouched. But, I mean, he was productive. He has not been involved in the passing game whatsoever. And that's Carson continues to make hay in the passing game. Carson was 3 for 27 in this game. While Penny had one measly catch, almost go for nothing. But they're working their way closer to a timeshare, in my opinion. I can't see how Carson's going to continue to get the bulk of the work. I mean, it was 15-10 in carries this week, and I think it's going to continue to go towards that, true 50-50, and Carson's going to lose that RB1 upside unless he continues to get the goal line work, which he might get because they clearly trust him in short yardage.
How the fuck is CJ Prospice still on a football team?
You got to pay him.
I don't understand.
Listen, because he can get 3 catches for 13 yards in crucial game situations.
Right.
Fuck. How about DK Metcalf? Touchdown.
Yep. All right. Wide receiver 1. I know Lockett got peppered with targets and all that nice stuff.
Straight lines.
Tyler Lockett had that Jamison Crowder stat line.
Yeah. You can tell that Russell and DK, I mean, he's a rookie. They're just only going to grow their, their connection, and it's only going to get bigger. You can probably expect those kind of lines, hopefully week to week, but I expect more coming out.
We just buried a lead. Big Will Dissly, 5 for 50 and 2 touchdowns, because of course that happened.
Who knows? I don't want to talk about it. That's like as bad as going to the Jaguars-Texans game. Battle back and forth. Decide to go for it on 2. Fournette can't get 2 yards. Came up in half an inch short or something.
Did you think he got it?
I did.
Think he got it?
I did personally, but there wasn't enough evidence.
The replay was obvious that he didn't get it.
Yeah. What?
He didn't.
The replay was not obvious. You could see where his arm was, that the ball had to be in there and it crossed the line.
I know where his elbow was. The elbow's on the outside of the ball.
The NFL just being a complete failure. Again, how do they not have a fucking camera down the goal line? They're always at some wonky angle.
No, I mean, why don't they just put a sensor over the pylon and inside the ball? So
you don't need a sensor. Run the camera straight down the line.
You see, they got the fucking first down stick cameras now. I saw that last week. That blew my mind.
Billions of dollars in revenue, and they can't put a fucking camera on the line.
Listen, they would have gave Sony Michel a second touchdown if they did that too. So I'm there with you.
Yeah, but that's about all I wanted to get to with that game. Besides, DJ Chark scores again this week. I don't know if that has any. I don't know. Does that have any bear with all? I mean,
looked like he hurt himself on the catch. I only saw the highlights of the game, but he definitely grabbed some. How about Gardner Minshew outrushed Leonard Fournette in the game? Well, let's talk about that.
It's the sweet ass jackets he's wearing when he's getting out of the plane. You seen he's like the new matcher.
Yeah, he is. So. Listen, he lived your best life. He knows he has like a few weeks in the sun. He's going to be irrelevant in a year or two. So just live your best life, Gardner.
He's not playing too bad. He's a good game.
He's not playing too bad, but he's reckless. He fumbled it like 3 times in the game. Like it just
Cowboys
not an answer.
Cowboys and Reds,
bad, right? Jacksonville's bad.
Yep.
Again, yeah.
Okay.
So they like bad.
Cowboys Redskins game. It's kind of a blowout. Score is 31-21. They got a score late, I believe. Cowboys defense looks a little susceptible, so I wouldn't be too shy if you have some offensive guys that you want to start against them at this point in the season. They don't score too much.
Bum ass Terry McLaurin gets a junk touchdown. Just keep proving John right week after week.
Electric.
On Byron Jones too at that.
They were not stopping until he got a touchdown. It's clear that McLaurin is the new Ryan Grant for the Washington Redskins.
That's electrifying.
No, McLaurin looks good. I can't hate on him. He's their clear wide receiver 1 there. Said Zeke touched the ball 25 times, 120 and a touchdown. Looked good. Looked like typical Zeke at the end of the game, salting it away, just bludgeoning defenses, just wears them down. Well, and until we heard the latest news, we were talking about injuries. We haven't brought this up, Burke. Yep. Michael Gallup trimmed meniscus out 2 to 4 weeks. We saw Devin Smith come out of absolutely nowhere to step in for Tavon Austin, and now he's going to be their outside, I guess, when you keep Randall Cobb in the slot. So maybe Devin Smith can be a thing for a couple weeks.
Believe it.
I mean, 2 straight years with ACLs that blew out for the Jets, and he was a speedster coming out of Ohio State like most of them. So, I mean, I'm not jumping for joy that Galluped out, but it does suck. The connection was looking good with him and Dak. Devin Smith ran the play action post and just used his speed, got past Josh Norman and the cheating safety. So I don't know. I mean, I think Cooper is the winner out of all of them.
We talked about it last week. I saw a story that said the Cowboys have no interest in extending Amari Cooper in season.
Correct.
And we mentioned it last week. I think that's part of Gallup coming along. If Gallup looks good, they're not going to pay him.
Yeah. But I think they're going to kind of do the same thing they do to the running backs. They're going to just start peppering the shit out of Cooper till Gallup gets back. But Cobb looks formidable, I guess, in PPR formats. I mean, he's not getting just one or two. But Jason Witten, 2 straight weeks in the end zone. The way that these tight ends are going right now, you might as well stream them.
Yeah,
I've already started. I started last week, and I dragged the corpse of Jason Witten out there again this week. That's working out for me.
Look what's happening. Delaney Walker, 2 touchdowns week 1. Greg Olsen has a 100-yard, 9-reception day in week 2. Witten's catching touchdown passes. Just wait till they take Antonio Gates out of mothballs again for those Chargers. So he can get a nice run, and he'll catch a touchdown a game. It's gonna happen.
Mothballs. I like it. Speaking of mothballs, Mitchell Trubisky is one. It just looks like – who's worse? I think who won that contest? Didn't he win it over Josh Allen that one year when we did that, the worst QB contest?
Oh, I forgot about that. I was going to say, does anyone win? That really happens.
Well, he won.
Yeah.
He was the winner.
I think
Still not sure I understood the premise of that game while we were playing it. I think I changed my answer every single time based on something else, but that game was atrocious. Montgomery finally got all the volume, and he luckily got a 1-yard touchdown because he didn't do shit with his 19 touches, 68 yards. How about Manny Sanders? 11 catches for 98 yards and a touchdown. I didn't see it. I was like, sell, burn, give away, do anything, but keep Manny Sanders on your team, and he has proven me wrong. Obviously, there's technology on these Achilles nowadays. It isn't nearly as devastating as it used to be because he's a 30-some-year-old receiver in a rebuilding offense with 2 young guys there, and it doesn't fucking matter. He's going to get all of Joe Flacco's targets.
Yep, and
the running back timeshare is completely tanked by week 2. It's Montgomery by a wide margin.
Yeah. I thought you were going the other way where Denver's become a full-blown timeshare.
Oh,
it should be because Freeman's just as good as Philbin.
Or better, I think, at this point.
I don't dispute it. Different running back.
Why not?
He should be the one handling most of the running down work.
Exactly. Why not use them like the rest of the NFL? It's like, are they trying to be different by just going right down the middle? They're not confusing anybody. I mean, it's kind of frustrating that I think Lindsey should be used a different way, and Freeman, like, your workhorse type back. So even the numbers don't lie, 11 for 54, and then Lindsey had 13 for 36. But
have you guys seen their stats on the year? Talking about full-blown committee. Have you seen their numbers?
No.
Oh, yeah. Freeman's been way better on a per-touch basis.
Yeah, but I mean, the touches are almost identical. Freeman, 21 rushes for 110 yards. Lindsey, 24 rushes for 79. And then in the passing game, Lindsey has 8 catches for 53. Freeman has 6 catches for 53. I mean, you couldn't, without, doctoring the numbers, you couldn't have it more 50-50 than that.
No. And
all I heard is Royce Freeman better than Philbin.
I mean, that's true.
Still a little disappointed in Noah Fant with the lack of help at the receiver position that Sanders is getting. I mean, they're trying to get set the rock. I mean, whatever happened.
Hamilton's just been dropping the ball.
Right. I don't know what's going on there. So I don't know. Didn't really catch that game either. The Saints and Rams game was boring until the second half. Cooper Kupp is the wide receiver 1, and it's obvious now in I almost said St. Louis, but out in L.A. But Jared Goff still looks like he's struggling a little bit. Maybe I hear the announcers giving McVay shit for not playing the starters for a good 5 minutes during the broadcast. But I just think it's a little rust to begin the season. But Cooper Kupp is balling.
Maybe he's struggling carrying around a giant fucking wallet of his. A strained lower back. He doesn't have to anymore. The dude's filthy rich with a guaranteed contract. He had one great season under McVay. Kudos to you guys.
I just think the other two, Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks, have become one of those iffy plays. Which one is it going to be this week? Cooper Kupp's going to get his targets, and then you got to decide between the next guy up out of those two with the matchups.
Listen, we talked all 32, and I said Cooks is a guy I'm not trusting. Back to, there was a perfect storm last year, and then they lost Kupp. So it became a two-man funnel as far as that passing game is concerned. When it gets all three fully healthy again, it's going to run through Kupp, and the other two dudes are going to get hurt, especially Cooks. He better find his way into some more deep balls if he wants to be, return value. And he caught a deep one, this week, but he didn't do shit week 1. And that's just what Brandon Cooks is going to be this year.
Right. Woods did have a touchdown called back by holding, but John, anything to add on the Rams side?
Who didn't? Everyone had touchdowns called back by holding.
Awful.
Nothing like the Saints scoop and score with Cam Jordan.
Did you hear him? He referred to him as Foot Locker.
Yeah.
Classic Cam Jordan.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well played, Cam.
To close out the night, though, it was the fight of the birds. We had the Dirty Birds down in Atlanta. The Eagles came to visit them for Sunday night. It looked like the Walking Dead because the Eagles were dropping like flies, especially at the wide receiver position. I mean, was it Arcega-Whiteside pretty much the only guy left after everything was all said and done?
No, unfortunately, it was Nelson Aguilar. Arcega-Whiteside played the whole game, got 4 targets, caught 1 for 4 yards. Totally irrelevant. Nelson Aguilar just dropped the game-winning touchdown pass, which was absolutely flawlessly perfect. Would have won the game. And then he catches a sick Hail Mary pass in double coverage. That was how the night was meant to go. But Zach Ertz had 16 targets on the week. It looked like Zach Ertz from last year, or just everything went through Zach Ertz. Turned 8 into 72. Typical Zach Ertz game. 9 yards a catch. Needed 10 on that last catch to get a first down on 4th. Gets 9. Thanks.
I thought you were going to say typical Zach Ertz crying in the locker room after the game.
Listen, he probably has a punctured lung like Carson Wentz does because they both got lit up right under the
They all got lit up. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, they lost their top 2 receivers, in the first half.
And Aguilar was out for a concussion.
Yeah,
protocol.
and they lost Goddard. So literally, they had nothing, and to lose the game by 4 points. I'll give them credit. I mean, it was a 54-yard touchdown by Julio on a 4th and 3 where Jake Matthews just absolutely killed the D-back on the play. I mean, I feel sorry for him. I think it was Avonte Maddox. I can't tell. I think he's still squished on the field. But, of course, you get Julio open, you're not catching him. So Julio turned in his 5 for 106 and 2 touchdown game. On that, he was largely held in check outside of that. 4 for 50 and a touchdown before that huge play.
Yep.
Eagles impressed me. I mean, I'm a homer, and they lost the game, but they couldn't have dealt with more adversity in that game. Carson Wentz was beat to shit. The Falcons' D-line looked amazing. They were in the backfield all game. We couldn't run the ball for shit. We didn't try to very hard. We threw it 2/3 of the time, and we were still within striking distance at the end of the game. I think better days are ahead. But
yeah, it does show you, John, what the Falcons are actually all about because the Eagles were up against the wall facing adversity the whole game, and then the Falcons just can't, pound them into the dirt. I mean, they were getting hits but they couldn't make any stops and only pull out this game there at the end on a little bubble screen pass. It's kind of I wouldn't get too high of hopes for Atlanta moving forward. Calvin Ridley does look good though as a wide receiver too there.
I'm worried about the running game.
Freeman, what running game?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. What running game? And Ito Smith, I was not as much of a hater of his as Walker, and I got to see a big chunk of this game, and he's not good either.
He had one great run where he just turned 2 guys around when that never happens in professional football, where you just literally stop dead and then go the other way. It wasn't a cut. He just stopped running and waited for the defender to move, and he went the other way. But
he had 32 total yards. His big run was 28.
Yeah. So the full Ito. Do you also hear why he's Ito Smith? That's not even his name.
Yeah,
he was in the hospital when he was a kid, and someone in his family said he looked like Judge Lance Ito.
Correct.
That is the strangest reason to keep a nickname I've ever heard in my entire life. It's not even an abbreviation of his first name. It's nothing.
I wouldn't stick if someone did that to me.
Nope. Moving on.
That's how good nicknames are made. I love it, actually.
Through 2 weeks, Matt Ryan, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
That's
where Matt Ryan.
One of the picks he threw against the Eagles was the worst interception I can remember seeing outside of
Was it the red zone one where he threw it right to Nate Gary?
I don't remember who caught it, but I mean,
and Nate Gary tried to run out of the end zone. I almost jumped through the TV to tackle him. He tried his damnedest not to get that touchback.
It was bad. So that's kind of what we saw this week in all the games. I know you guys kind of spit some out along the way, but let's start with you, John. I mean, waivers are going to be, what is it, Wednesday morning. So let's get to some waiver stuff. Who's some guys you got to pick up?
Running back. I mentioned Frank Gore and TJ Yeldon. They're going to get the Bengals. So based on matchup, our man Jalen Samuels, who obviously for Dynasty, he's probably already gone for any league. If you guys listen to us regularly, you should have already had him. Mm-hmm. Darwin Thompson, same story. Mostert and Jeff Wilson, if they weren't already picked up, will be hot this week. Ingram got a little banged up. And Justice Hill, Gus Edwards should be on your radar, especially in that high-scoring game this week. And the aforementioned Ito Smith, just because he may suck, but he's going to get work, and Freeman doesn't look good.
Walk, you got any?
I pretty much named every running back in the NFL, so there's not a lot left for me to really touch on. David Johnson, wrist injury, but did come back. Chase Edmonds, if he's been dropped, I'd probably be going and picking Chase Edmonds up, even though the running is not a big product of that Arizona offense. But no, I'm there. San Fran gets Pittsburgh this week. They're at home. Pittsburgh's now without Big Ben. Who knows if they have John Connor? You could see a similar game script where all those guys touch the ball 10 plus times. So I agree. Mostert and Wilson, could get some burn. And from running backs, that's all I can see. Bar, injury specific. I do want to say that the Eagles better get back to running the ball against Detroit next week. And I've been holding out hope for this Miles Sanders breakout game, and he just hasn't. He's looked tentative, and they haven't open holes. But hopefully they run the ball against Detroit, and it's a get-right game at home. From the wide receiver perspective, we're going to have to talk about your Dallas Cowboys traveling to Miami traveling to Dallas. Dallas is a 21-point favorite right now against the Dolphins. They are a bigger betting favorite than the Patriots were against these same Dolphins a week ago in Miami. And we just talked about how Michael Gallup's down. I think Devin Smith is a start here. He's going to get snaps in this offense. They're going to be blowing him out, so they're not going to have to continue to trot out, Amari Cooper and all. I think Randall Cobb's sneaky, could be amazing in this game. And you'd probably just pencil Whitman for another touchdown. He's probably on most teams' waiver wires. So go get every single Dallas Cowboy that's not named Dak or Zeke or Cooper because they're already on rosters, and you could probably start them this week.
Except for Tony Pollard. He does not look like he
Listen, you can start Tony Pollard. If you're in a super deep league, he's going to get burned in the second half. He will see the ball 10-plus times in this game. They're not going to beat Zeke up, in an absolute blowout game. So I think Pollard could be 10-plus touches. And if you're in a pinch, which you should not be in week 3 because there's no buys, but Tony Pollard could be a value. And you want to get your hand on some handcuffs if you have to. Like John said, Ito Smith, unfortunately they don't trust Brian Hill, even though I like Brian Hill. And, Freeman looks like he's decent catching the ball, but he just doesn't look like anything running the ball. But you could say that about most running backs so far this year.
But we'll shut it down there for our quick little recap show. Enjoy the game tonight. We want to thank our partners over at the Full-Time Fantasy Network. Go check them out. Podcasts, articles, tons of rankings, tons and tons of stuff. Remember to like, rate, and subscribe on all of your platforms: Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, Spreaker, all that stuff. We're on all of them. Walker, did I miss any?
Nope. Touched all the bases. But before we sign out, I wrote something after Darnold went down, and I said, could Nick Chubb be RB1 overall this week? And someone on Twitter replied, no. And I said, why not? And he said, because he's not good. That's what I got out of someone. I was like, okay, he has zero competition. They just activated Elijah McGuire, and then he's playing against Trevor Siemian. Right now, Dalvin Cook is the running back 1 with 28.1 PPR points. I think there is a world where Nick Chubb is the running back 1 this week.
Could be. Yeah. John, any final parting words?
Oh, I need Chubb points, so I hope you're right. Real quick, if you want some deep wide receiver guys, Damery Bird for the Cardinals. He has 10 catches already in 2 games, so he's involved. They're going 4 wide. Isabella has vanished, as Walker likes to say, on a milk carton.
Yep.
So Damery Bird's a super deep guy. Chris Herndon will be back in a couple of weeks for looking for tight ends. And you mentioned Devin Smith, but he should be out there available too.
Those are good ones. I like that walk, not because it's Cowboys, but you're taking a risk going that deep. So we'll see how that pans out. But it can't be any better matchup going against those Dolphins. I mean, talk about tanking. They
balls deep. Do you know who Damaray Bird outscored this week?
Oh, this is a good one. I mean, a lot of guys, but who?
Allen Robinson.
Mike Evans.
Oh.
Shots fired, Mike.
We're gonna close it down there. Till next time, for myself, Andrew Burke, John Barry, Matt Walker, we're the Fantasy 40 signing off.
See, I mean, and the issue with me is that I've always lived in houses where my couches were against walls. Because that's what like normal society does. So you don't have these like free floating couches in these massive rooms where you're even capable of sneaking up on someone and doing something.
Never even thought of it. It's a good.
Just lack of available options too.